So everybody we've talked to really enjoyed the style and the dynamics of the Ashinkin schools and how it uses the blank dice for its results. That made perfect sense. It was great thematic. And we've talked about that on our podcast before. We did notice what seems to be an extremely wide range of power levels between the inversions of the same rank. Effectively, at rank 5, you've got Unweave, which does your theology in fatigue to somebody, versus the rank 1 Whispered Blade, popping critical hits all over the place. And some have a huge narrative effect, very small mechanical effect. So we're trying to maybe get your thinking on what makes a Shinken spell the level it is, and how the narrative mechanical effects are meant to work together for these spells.
Yeah, so that's 2 questions. The first question is, why is Unweave better than Whispered Blade? And the short answer is, like most techniques, it isn't. Like, rank 5 techniques aren't necessarily supposed to be better than rank 1 techniques. They're just techniques you'll have access to later in your career that often do more specialized things. But we don't want you to stop using rank 1 techniques at rank 5. However, there are a couple reasons that if I was given the choice between the two, I would rather build around Unweave than Whispered Blade. And the big one is just action efficiency. If you are high enough rank to take advantage of it, Unweave is way more action efficient, right? And it's experience efficient. You don't have to invest a bunch of experience in being able to stab people, which we've generally found in playtesting. The elemental weapons, yes, they're pretty good, but they have this hidden tax. You have to invest a whole bunch of experience points in being able to hit people with them. And Whispered Blade is the same. Unweave is 1 action. If you magnitude it up, it can hit everything if you wanted to. And it's really a finisher at the end of the day. And it's a finisher for campaign level threats, right? Unweave is like, I want this person so gone, I never have to deal with them. I don't want their zombie coming back. This person is finished and I am done dealing with them. And if you use it for that, it's either an extremely action efficient way to just get rid of a minion and just be like, yep, that thing is gone, I don't have to deal with it. Or if you want to use it on an adversary or a PC or a real enemy, it's the best way to permanently get rid of something unless it is capable of using Slip the Cycle to come back. So it's more about this sort of magnitude of the effect, not to steal from the other game term there, but like the ability to do unpreventable damage is great, and even the ability to toss out crits is great, but sometimes you really want to get rid of someone who that won't kill. Like, there are plenty of threats in the setting that will shrug off having their head chopped off or what have you, but don't like to be banished to unreality.
Okay.
And that's why one of them is available at rank 1 and the other is available at rank 5.
I can think of a few characters from Old Lore who that
yeah.
wish someone had done that to them.
Yeah, exactly. If you have to deal with one of those old 5R characters who came back 18 times, then you want Unweave. If you think it's just a normal person who will stay dead, then Whispered Blade is plenty.
Okay. And what about something like Witness the End? Like, it even had a sidebar about how terrifying it was, but we were trying to figure out what it actually would do in gameplay, and it seems like most of the times you'd want to use it like on Shukujo, or otherwise it would end up dropping a TN from 3 or 2 to 1, because it's got this big narrative effect potentially, but we couldn't figure out the mechanical effect.
Keep in mind that setting the TN to 1 is the Akodo mastery ability. They have to fail a check and then they can set the TN to 1. So this is comparable with a school's mastery ability. So setting the TN to 1 is a big mechanical effect. Witness the End is also totally useful for narrative stuff too. Let's say, for instance, your character is trapped in some sort of confinement of some kind. Witness the End is your way to figure out how to get out of that. So it's got this sort of double angle of, it's got this great opportunity to give you a huge boost on this check you're going to make, and in some cases it maybe tells you what check to make. Another good example is, let's say we're dealing with one of those beings who doesn't die unless you destroy their heart, which is hidden 500 miles away. If you pop Witness the End, your GM should tell you, yeah, nothing you do to this person is actually going to kill them. Here, your first action to deal with them is going to have to be leaving and going somewhere else. And suddenly you're like, oh, okay, that completely changes the encounter. Now it's a runaway encounter, and I didn't spend a bunch of time and energy fighting an immortal sorcerer who wasn't going to die from this anyway. So, as with many things, it's somewhat up to player and GM interpretation and discussion. If you want to just use it mechanically and keep it really simple, though, dropping the TN to 1 is really good.
How often do you see something like Naramani or magic items or that cool buff sword that you really want coming out or giving those sort of cool things to your players? There's been discussion like the rank 5 techniques expect you to have a magic sword on you. That's been mentioned before. And we're just curious as to how GM should handle the dishing out of the cool stuff.
I wouldn't say that they necessarily expect you to have a magic sword on you, but it's certainly a possibility. It totally depends on the themes of the campaign you want to run. So I usually shoot for no more than 1 per player, and they should tie into the character's backstory or where they're going somehow, because I want them to have a lot of personality and be interesting. But if you were running a big movers and shakers of the realm game, maybe you'd want to dish them out more frequently. Or if you were running a game about like past ages and these grand myths, maybe you want to add more of those in. So I think it's just tone. How much do you want to tell a more high fantasy story versus a low fantasy story? How much do you want to play up the supernatural side of the setting in your campaign? It's very much a season to taste. The game doesn't become unbalanced if characters get those things.